while many of you have been experiencing more synchronicity in your lives by using the formula that we have outlined, following your passion to the best you can, no assumption, no insistence on the outcome, remaining in a positive state no matter what manifests so that you can gain the benefit from it, we have come to realize in various conversations that there may still be a little bit of misunderstanding or confusion or lack of clarity about some of these concepts we have discussed with you in the past. Therefore, today, in this transmission, we would like to provide a little bit more precision in the understanding and explanation and definition of these concepts of state of being, circumstance, and synchronicity, and how they work. So the idea is to understand, first and foremost, that some people, when we talk about circumstance, and we have said circumstance doesn't matter, only state of being matters, there are many things to understand about this that will help clarify this concept. When we talk about the idea that circumstances don't matter, we don't mean that they don't have value. We don't mean that you should ignore the circumstance. Some people have taken that phrase in this manner. What we're saying is circumstances are the result of your state of being. They don't cause the state of being, your belief systems do. And when your belief systems create a state of being, that's what generates your reality experience, the reflection you get in your physical reality that creates the so-called circumstance or situation that you experience. So while the idea is that the circumstance isn't what creates your state of being, it can still be used to understand what your state of being is. Saying that it doesn't matter simply means it isn't the causation of your state of being. Therefore, don't go off the circumstance as if that's what's responsible for the state of being you're in. Always look to your belief systems first to determine why your state of being is the way it is, why your vibrational frequency is at the level that it's at. Therefore, you can always use your circumstance as a guiding mechanism to get in touch with what you would have to believe is true in order to have created this reflection, this circumstance. But sometimes you will just create circumstance to gauge what your state of being is, to be able to tell, like a reflective mirror, well, because of this circumstance and these things being arranged in this way and this prop here and that person there saying this thing at this time, look to your response, look to your reaction to those things to help you illuminate what your belief system is that's creating the state of being that is giving you this reflective circumstance in order, again, to get in touch with what the belief system is. It's kind of a circular tool. The idea is then not to ignore the circumstance as if it has no importance or no value, but to utilize it to gauge for yourself more clarity in what you believe to be true, that is therefore creating a vibrational frequency that brings about this particular circumstance in order for you to understand more clearly what your belief system is, in order to reveal what that is to you more clearly. So it's about using the circumstance in the way it is designed, in the way it is built, not just ignoring it and thinking you can change your state of being without necessarily understanding why the circumstance is what it is as a set of props in order for you to get in touch with what the belief is that created the state of being to begin with, that brought about the circumstance. Also, connecting to the concept of synchronicity that brings you these circumstances in exactly the form in which they come, it's very important to understand how synchronicity works in a little bit more detail. It's all well and good when you allow yourself to recognize synchronicity, when it brings you an opportunity that is representative of your passion, and it brings you the ability to act on things in the direction of your passion, and it brings you signs and signals that you learn to interpret as being representative of your path, which again is represented by the vibration of your passion. But also, there are times when people might become a little bit confused, a little bit frustrated, why certain things are not going in the direction you thought that they would. Well, again, of course, this ties into not having insistence or assumption, as we have said many times. But the idea also is that synchronicity will work not only to provide you an opportunity to act, but more importantly, will sometimes provide you an opportunity to not be able to act in the direction that is not representative of your path of least resistance. Many people don't understand that synchronicity can use the negative side for positive reasons. So your inability sometimes to actually go forward in a certain direction is also an indication sometimes of synchronicity, showing you this is not the next step to take. This is not the direction you need to go in. This is not the path of least resistance, even though at first it may have seemed so. So it's important to really clarify in your observational skills and your discernment skills, the ability to tell when synchronicity is not only telling you, yes, act on this, but is also telling you, do not act on this. You don't have the ability to act on this. This is not going to take you further. And you have to pay attention and have the discernment to tell the difference between when synchronicity is telling you, this is not something you can act on, or whether or not is your own fear-based belief telling you not to go forward. We understand that this can be sometimes a little bit challenging to tell apart, but nevertheless, once you begin to understand a little bit more clearly that synchronicity can work this way and actually prevent you from moving forward on a path that is not yours, you'll be able to tell the difference through practice between your own fears stopping you and synchronicity simply putting up its hand and saying, no, not this way. Look for the other way that contains your passion. Don't keep trying to go down this path, because right now, this is not the path of least resistance. This is not representative of the passion that is truly you. So the idea is that synchronicity and circumstance and state of being all work together, kind of in a triad, to help give you the guidance and give you the ability to know where you stand as a navigational tool, so to speak, at any given moment, to let you know what is something to act on, what is not something to act on, and to observe these things, to stay in that state where you look at your state of being, where you look at the circumstance and the value that it brings you as a reflection, and you understand and look at the synchronicity and how it is working, both in the ability to act or the ability not to act. You can gain in that process more insight into exactly your timing, your pacing, making sure that you are exactly where you need to be when you need to be there in terms of your state of being. And remember, please, it is not about trying to get somewhere more than it is simply being exactly where you are in that process. Never assume you need to rush forward. Never assume you need to go faster than you are or slower than you are. The idea is that the synchronicity in working with state of being and circumstance, if you are willing to have this discernment and realize all the different ways this is working for you and use these tools in the way they can work for you, you will then always be willing and excited to stay in the moment, in the process, because that's the most important thing right there. Not where you need to go after that, but right there, that's the whole idea. That's the whole reason why whatever is happening, is to be in that process and in a state of being and in a circumstance synchronistically where you are examining your belief systems, finding out what the value of the circumstance is as it came to you, discerning what synchronicity is telling you about moving forward or not moving forward at that particular moment in that particular way, and adjusting your state of being and first and foremost your belief systems in order to allow your state of being to bring you the circumstance and the synchronicity in the form in which it is most clear and working most precisely to allow you to take the best possible advantage of the formula and the instruction manual that we have shared with all of you. So let this sink in, ponder this, and allow these things in this moment that you ponder them to simply come to you and work for you. Again, you don't have to be anywhere else more important than what's happening in that moment, and just dive deeply into it. Meditate on it, think about it, however you wish to do it, But stay with that triad of state of being and circumstance and synchronicity, and really give yourself an opportunity to learn to develop the discernment to find out exactly what each of those tools is working for you and how it works for you best, by just staying right there with it and not being in a hurry to be anywhere else.